So we just got done watching La Dolce Vita. I really liked this movie. I thought that it had an existentialist message, but it really kind of spoke to me.
It took a little convincing from these two guys for me to finally say it's actually a pretty decent movie.
Well, Dolce Vita is really hard to watch because you don't understand where Fellini's going with the movie until you're pretty far in it. It's really just an irrelevant to each other series of events that when you look at them, you suddenly get what the movie is about. And I think if I were to watch it again, I'd pick up on a lot more things.
I was not very interested. It was very hard for me to follow.
For the first couple scenes, it's just sort of a sequence of short vignettes, events that are all happening around the main character named Marcello. Dolce Vita is translated as the sweet life, and it's basically Marcello, through all of these events that happen in the movie, I believe there's 7 of them, is exposed to the sweet life. He's a journalist, so he follows around celebrities all the time, and it's him being exposed to that way of living and then contrasting that with his own.
Life is essentially meaningless, and to sort of cope with that, there's different approaches. One approach is essentially hedonism. There's one character, Steiner, Marcello actually looks up to as sort of a father figure, even more than his own father. He chooses a sort of detached life. Steiner describes it as living as like a completed work of art. Steiner's life seems perfect from the outside, but we learn that Steiner on the inside is just, there's a calm that's disturbing to him. He
just can't stand that sense of organization, that everything's going to be okay. Bored by the fact that there's no real surprise anymore. I don't necessarily agree with the view of that life being terrible. I don't know. I wish that was explored a little bit more.
I think Steiner is sort of an example of stagnation. He does have an idyllic life. What Steiner sort of represents is, yeah, you have it, but then you get used to it, and everyone stagnates, and if you stay sort of in the same place too long, it's sort of the end of times. It's not so much what your life is; it's that you've stayed on one track for too long that makes things seem meaningless.
I would say that the Friends are also a representation of Steiner's point of view. Steiner's attempt to detach from life. A guy who's stuck in the Orient is essentially just, he's just obsessed with his trip to India. There's the alcoholic poet who's basically believes she's still relevant.
They all have different takes on what it means to live a fulfilled life, and they all give Marcello different views on it, and they all try to thrust their ideas on Marcello, but I don't think there really is an answer as to what the sweet life is for him.
They're financially stable, they can go all over, they can party without any repercussions, but are they truly happy?
I don't know. I want to talk about Sylvia, the American actress. When we first meet her, she seems like this just kind of dumb, blonde character. What we end up seeing is that she's really like the only innocent in the movie, at least I think, besides maybe the children. She wonders at these mundane things that no one else seems to be interested in. The fountain that Marcello always passes, the kittens, and like just staring out the window out at the beauty of Rome. And I don't know if she's necessarily ignoring the meaningless of life, but she just doesn't let it bother her. One spectacular scene when they go into the fountain and Marcello's just looking in wonder at Sylvia, and she like tells him to listen. Like the noise dies down around them, and it's just this like single sustained beautiful moment. She is able to look at the beauty that sort of the beauty of the silence that sort of scared Steiner into essentially killing his kids.
She's more happy than any other person in the film.
Fellini's big on the sort of adding surreal aspects, and there is this surreal aspect about Sylvia, in that she isn't really a fully realized character, but I never got the real feeling that she was supposed to be. I got the feeling that she was supposed to be this sort of superhuman, youthful exuberance, that she's supposed to be on one track and exhibit that sort of for Marcello.
I was a bit confused by the ending. the final scene.
So when he meets her on the beach again, after this, bizarre party on the beach with these crazy people, and he sees her on the other side of the beach, and she's sort of calling to him, and she's making all these symbols, and he goes, I can't hear you, I have no clue what you're saying. I think it's sort of symbolic of, she represents for him regret and understanding, I've done something wrong, and he can't hear her, he doesn't get that, and so it seems to me that he's changed his path in life, but he can't even remember that there's something that he should be missing. Like, there's not an emptiness in his heart at all. He's chosen his path, and he can't remember that there is another path that he left behind.
I think this is definitely a difficult movie to follow. It's, if you want something with action and a lot of suspenseful scenes, I don't think this is quite the movie. If you want a movie that'll challenge you and kind of give you something to think about, this La Dolce Vita is definitely that movie for you.
La Dolce Vita it's a weird film. It's not a blockbuster because there's no driving force behind it. It's Fellini saying, these are a bunch of pictures, take what you will from them. Take sort of the moral from what I'm giving you. And so it leaves a lot up to the viewer. Like, you have to really think about things, and you have to be an active viewer. And I think, as far as complex films go, Fellini did a fantastic job. It's brilliantly done.
It's a wonderful film. My favorite on the list so far. I don't know.
Cool. Thanks for watching.